Good morning. For those of you who celebrate Yule, happy Yule. For those of you who don't, happy Solstice. Today is the longest day of the year, which means we're going to be moving towards spring. That makes most people happy. Makes me pretty happy, except that I do know that means it's going to get hotter here. But I'll take it. Today, I have decided to talk about cycles because this is a good day to talk about cycles because this is a part of the cycle of the year, the solstice. We have winter and summer solstices, which are part of the cycle of the year. Everything in life moves in circles. Everything's got a pattern to it. We do everything. If you think about it as kind of a spiral or a circle, I tend to think of it in terms of circles. We move in and out of good times and bad times, and nothing is permanent. There's always change. That's the only thing that's permanent in life is change. And that's the good news because, hard times don't last. They're there and they get better. And so I had done my morning reading. In the mornings, I always do a meditation and a reading for my day, for myself, to kind of get me grounded and give me an idea of what I need to work on personally, like what my journey is. And this one was pretty profound for me, and I'll share with you some of the things that I need to do. So I pulled up allowing. I need to do more allowing in my life of a lot of things. I need to allow more love into my life. I have a hard time with that. Allowing people to help me, I struggle with that. I'm really good at helping and pushing out love, but I do struggle with accepting it. I have a hard time accepting my own inner power. My self-confidence is often shaken. And a lot of that is still old inner child stuff that I'm working on. And I get frustrated with that process, I think, like a lot of people do, that I am 53 years old and still having to deal with self-confidence issues, which creates this shyness in me that you wouldn't think exists, but if you knew me in person, I'm really a shy person. I don't do well in groups. I don't do well in crowds. I'm not a fan of meeting new people. And I'm trying to work past that because that isn't about anyone else, but it's about my own lack of self-confidence. And I know that is the old stuff that came from childhood abuse, and I need to release that and let go of it because I know that isn't true. And so one of my goals is to really meditate on that and really releasing it. And that's part of the cycle thing about how life is a circle, and knowing that I can break the cycle by releasing those stories that I told myself as a child, in order to survive. And the things that my parents told me weren't true because they were broken too. My parents were broken. So there's that. And there was something really profound in one of the cards. I read from the Osho Zen Tarot often when I do my personal reads. Sometimes I do them for other people. And there was something really profound I read which says, have you ever seen a tree depressed? A bird anxiety ridden? Like when we look at nature, nature doesn't suffer depression or anxiety. And it took me back to a memory with my trauma therapist one time. She had a cat in her office, and she just off the cuff said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we were all as self-actualized as a cat? And I look over at Willie here in the office with me, and, you know, he's so self-actualized. And what a great goal to be that self-actualized, you know, to just not care what anyone thinks. Especially if you're someone who is really anxiety ridden. And that would be a great goal, you know. And not everyone suffers that, and not everyone has that problem, but it's been, for me, a challenge in my life. And so I'm sharing that with you. And I don't know whether you want to hear it or not, but this is part of my journey. And so what do I do when I am facing those things? Okay, so here's some tools that I have used and some tools that I'm learning. So, anxiety. When I'm feeling incredibly anxious, when I do have to go into social situations with people, because, you know, in reality, I actually am married to an incredibly extroverted, wonderfully extroverted social person. And I would never expect her to be the introvert that I am. That would be unfair. And so there has to be balance in any good relationship. And since I don't drink anymore, when we were younger, I would just throw back a beer or two and it would be okay. I'd have my social lubricant. But since I don't drink anymore and I can't socially lubricate, which wasn't a healthy coping mechanism anyways, what I do is I take deep breaths and I remind myself that I live in a safe universe. And I imagine a big bubble of white light around myself, protecting myself. So I envision a giant dome of white light that is keeping me safe. And I just tell myself, I live in a safe universe, that I have my guides and angels and source, and nobody's out to get me, and that I am likable, I am lovable, and that experience has taught me that most people really do enjoy my company, and that all those voices that tell me that I am not are liars, that those are the voices of my parents, and that they are liars, and I need to tell them to shut up. And over the years, they get quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. And sometimes they get real loud, and I literally just have to kind of go into the bathroom and sit on the toilet and meditate a little bit and tell the voices to be quiet, like tell my parents to just shut up. Like, I know you're lying to me, this is not true. And take deep breaths and envision again that I've got this shield around me, and remember that I do have really positive interactions with people when I get out and socialize. And so, because it's true, it's true. I don't have negative interactions with people. So, that is one of the things, is like separating out what the reality is from what, your brain tries to tell you is the reality, right? So, in my case, when you've been abused, your brain will tell you a bunch of lies. But the reality can be something entirely different. And so for me, it has become really important to separate out and realize that, like, the brain stuff, that committee, the the old tapes, whatever that is just bullshit. It's lies. It is the old abuse, and it serves nothing, and I can get rid of that. And that the reality, what I've got going on in my life when I'm around people, is that I have a lot of acceptance, I have a lot of love, and I have really good interactions with the people in my life. And I need to reinforce that in my brain and remind myself of that often. And so one of the things that I'm currently working on is rewriting that in my brain. And so what I need to do more often is spend the time in meditation, erasing those voices of my parents and reinforcing it with, I'm not shy, I'm actually really good at interacting with people, and I have a wonderful time when I go out in the world. See? Because what we tell ourselves is what we end up believing in the end. So even using the words I'm shy is probably really untrue. But I have convinced myself over my lifetime that that's true. And so I think I can change that paradigm by having the realization that I have really good interactions with people. So that's the cycle, and breaking the cycle and knowing that, life is circular, and we can come right back around to that place and change how that works out. So that's what works for me. There are times that I have straight up panic attacks. And so I'll tell you how I deal with panic attacks for any of you that have panic attacks, because they're really, really pretty horrible. And I don't know if all of you have coping skills or if any of these things could help you. But one of the things that I do is I try and bring myself back to the present moment. And so I have found, okay, important things are hydration, definitely when you're in panic. If you have someone around you that can bring you something to drink, any kind of water or juice, anything that's going to hydrate you. The other thing is some kind of a pleasant smell. So if you can carry on you chapstick if you're a guy, or something that smells good. If you're a woman, a certain fragrance you enjoy, hand lotion, anything like that that you can put on and smell, that's going to kind of bring you back into the moment. And then the other thing that I do is literally I'll put my hands on my clothing and tell myself in my brain, right now in this moment, I have my hands on my pants and the texture is, and I start thinking about the literal feel of the fabric and bringing myself into the moment and bringing myself back into the present moment. And I'm taking breaths in that moment. Anything to distract my brain from the thought of, oh my God, I'm going to die. To calm myself down. Because panic attacks are so, your adrenals are firing, your brain is misfiring, you have all these things going on neurologically inside your body, and so you need to attack, counterattack all of those systems. So you need to hit your olfactories, you need, your nose, your sense of touch. You need to kind of talk to yourself, hit your sense of sound if you can. You need to get your body as hydrated as possible because that also is really calming. Anything that is going to distract you in a really, really healthy way, make sure you're oxygenating. The same thing with if you're triggered in any way, kind of do the same thing. If you're in a situation that triggers you from trauma, do the same types of exercises because those things too can really help. I can't recommend them enough. If they don't work for you, they don't work for you. But these are the things that I do. So I did want to address that. And then here's a message that I have received so much lately. And so I'm going to tell you about something I really need to let go of because I keep getting this message in so many readings about letting go. And so when my ex-husband took my children away from me, when my son was a baby, I wanted to divorce my ex-husband, and my ex-husband, being an abuser, told me if I divorced him, I would never see my son again. And then I got pregnant with my daughter, and so I stayed because I was really afraid of losing my kids. I was very young when I got married. I was 18, and I was 29 when I left my husband. And with the help of my family and his family, he took my children away from me. And I did not see my children for almost 7 years. He did his best to keep them away from me. And during that time, he did some pretty horrible things and poisoned their mind. He would do things like have them call me up and tell me they hated me and never wanted to see me again. When I would try and call and have contact with them, he would tell me they were grounded and couldn't talk to me, but then he would tell them that I never called them, I didn't care about them. So I've managed over the years, my daughter and I have managed to talk all that out and have a wonderful relationship. My son does not want a relationship with me. And this is one of my greatest sources of grief as a mother. One of my greatest sources of pain in life. I have a grandson I've never seen, and now my daughter-in-law is pregnant again, and I'll have another grandchild I'll never see. I've sent Christmas cards and things only to find out later that my son throws them away. So, I think I've held on to a lot of hope that would change over the years. And because I'm a mom, and no matter what, I love my son. And I know that my job as a parent is to love him unconditionally. And that will never change. I will always love him unconditionally. But I'm more and more aware now that that situation is not going to change. That is his life path and my life path. And I need to let it go. I need to let it go for my mental health. And I need to just release that part of me that has held on to for 7 years, that has held on to hope that he would change his mind and want a relationship and want to work it out. And so that is the shadow work I need to do. And I think I'm ready to do that. But it has felt like I have really been holding this deep pain secret. And it's weird because I feel like I've been holding a secret from all of you. So it kind of feels liberating to say it out loud. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do, is release that, let it go. So in life, you know, there are things we need to often need to do to break the cycles in our lives, to come to terms with, to deal with from our pasts, so that we can have a cleaner future, so that we can move forward, so that we can own our own power, so that we can find our joy, our bliss, so that we can feel more connected to the people that do love us, so that we can really live. Because if we're stuck in the sadness, if we're stuck in the past, if we're stuck in that pain body, we can't be in the present. We can't be happy where we are, because we're stuck in that bottle of pain. And sometimes, you know, I have wondered, like, and worried if a lot of this stuff that I'm having to clear up is because I'm terminally ill. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I still need to clear it up. Everybody does. And if for no, even if it is for that, but even if it's not, it's because I want to live the best version of my life I can, no matter what, you know. So if it's taken me 53 years to be able to come out of my shell and be more willing to go out there in the world and hang out with people, great. Like, I want to do that. And if it's taken me 53 years to liberate my, my well-being on so many levels, great, I want to do that. And if it's taking me, since I was 29 to get past the worst of the grief of losing my kids, then yeah, I need to do that. I have had a lot of years of just flagellating myself, honestly. Did I do the right thing leaving? And I know I did. I've never really, for a moment missed him or felt like staying would have been the right option. I mean, what would I have taught my children staying in an abusive relationship? I don't feel like staying was the right option. So, but I also feel like leaving put them in a horrible, horrible situation. So I had a lot of guilt and regret around that, and I needed to release that as well, because it wasn't me who abused those children. And I have been the one who has fought for them and loved them, and that's the best I can do, is continue to love them with everything I have. So, in this world, we all have struggles, and we all have things that we bump up against. But we all have a choice whether we're going to let it make us bitter or make us better. And so I often think about this story, an allegory, that someone told me a long time ago, and you may have heard it, about the carrot, the coffee bean, and the egg. If you take a carrot, a coffee bean, and an egg, and you put them all in a pot of boiling water, they all change. The carrot becomes mushy, the egg becomes hard, and the coffee bean becomes fragrant. Well, we're like that. But we get to choose. Do we want to be the carrot that becomes too mushy? Do we want to become hard and impenetrable like the egg? Or do we want to be like the coffee bean, which becomes fragrant and delicious and wonderful, and everybody enjoys it? The choice is ours, always, how we want to turn out. So we can come out of any condition and choose. And sometimes, even when we are the egg or the carrot, we can still choose to become the coffee bean. And that's the beauty of it. We get to choose. If you don't like your choice, choose again. That's the beauty of being human. We have choices. We have free will. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And I know this video's run a little long. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the bell for notifications. Please comment on my videos. Let me know what you think. Your opinions do matter to me. And I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful day. I love you dearly. Remember, you are a part of the divine. You are worthy of all the love in the world. I love you truly. I'll talk to you later.